We're back with the BS Sports Report. Sorry for a little extended break there, trying to figure out our phone situation. But we are joined now by Minnesota Vikings insider Adam Miller. Thanks for joining us today, Adam.
How you doing, Brian?
Good. So recently, the Vikings, great. Randy Moss retired. Kind of played for 13 seasons and kind of a guy that was kind of star-crossed. Great talent.
I should have never left Minnesota.
You should have left Minnesota?
Shouldn't have left Minnesota.
Yeah, did he leave by free agency? Do you remember?
He did, and he was just not happy with the situation and didn't feel like he could win a Super Bowl ring there, so he explored his other options.
This is just his first touchdown on Monday Night Football. I don't know if you remember this.
When was it?
98.
Adjusting his Moss, and then Randy Moss squeezes his way in for the touchdown.
It is unbelievable. He just throws it up, and these guys got...
And you know, what these announcers are talking about, how he just kind of squeezed himself in between the defenders. What really made Randy Moss special on the football field?
A combination of his athleticism and speed to go along with his huge 6'4" frame. That's what caused defenses to have to change their whole schemes. And in his prime at Minnesota, offensive coordinators wouldn't even bother to go scout the other teams because the defense that they'd see the week before wouldn't even matter because they weren't going to use it when they're lining up against Randy. So he changed the whole game. He take away his off-the-field stuff. What he did on the field changed the whole position of wide receiver.
I found a YouTube video today that said, or that had a Falcons cornerback that said, if Randy doesn't make the Hall of Fame, you're pretty much saying you're just hating on Randy for his attitude, so to speak, and really his contributions to the football field were unbelievable, and that he should be rewarded for that, not anything else. Do you completely agree with that?
I'm going to have to say he's a lock for the Hall of Fame, and that his off-the-field, nudging the police officer with his car and all that, Dennis Rodman type stuff, shouldn't matter. But taking plays off, I definitely think that should be taken into consideration. He only made the Pro Bowl 6 out of his 13 years. But yeah, he's second all-time in touchdowns scored and a bunch of other records. So yes, he should be a lock, first ballot for a Hall of Fame.
I'm looking at his career stats now: 954 receptions, 153 touchdowns. It's really a shame that he couldn't get to 1,000 receptions. I'm sure that would be a magical number for him, and that's probably a magical number for wide receivers in general.
Yeah.
When he went to Oakland, he kind of disappeared for a couple years. Do you think because how sad of a situation Oakland was, do you think that contributed to maybe his overall, or people's overall attitude to Randy Moss, that, he kind of got what he deserved in Oakland?
Well, it's hard to be a good receiver without a good quarterback.
Right.
You can still be a good blocking wide receiver. You can still make stuff happen. But if there's nobody to throw the ball to you, you're not going to be making plays. I mean, Randy Moss is a part of the two teams that scored the most points. In 1998, the Vikings set the record for most points scored in a season, and his team, 2007 Patriots, broke that record for most points scored in a season. And he had two elite quarterbacks tossing him the ball. So, yeah, he probably could have done more with Oakland, but as he's seen through his career, whenever he doesn't feel like he's going to get the best opportunity, he just gives up.
I was reading, obviously after Oakland, he went to New England, and like you said, set a bunch of offensive records. How do you think he hurt New England's chances to win a Super Bowl? Because here's why. A Boston guy said that before Randy came, they were focused on defense and kind of weren't flashing an offense. And then the minute Randy came, although they came within a couple minutes of winning the Super Bowl, it kind of changed the way New England looked at playing football. It was no longer, kind of gutted out offense and kind of be a solid defense. It was kind of focused more on offense than defense. Do you think that Randy at all maybe hurt New England from a football standpoint? I mean, and like I said, it's kind of hard to say that because what they did in 07. But 07 after that, after this guy in New England, he works for Nesson. I thought he had kind of a point the way he looked at it.
I'm going to have to say no. Tom Brady had 50 touchdowns in 2007. Randy Moss had 23 touchdown catches record, and the year after that, Tom Brady got hurt. So you're definitely going to see production, and then the year after that, he's coming back from an injury, so he's still not going to be 100% Tom Brady. I mean, on one hand, you got Tom Brady throwing the ball Randy Moss deep, opens up stuff for Wes Welker and stuff. But if you look at it last year, the Patriots were still like second or first in offense, even though they had like 31st rushing offense. But what I'm saying is, whether he's on the team or not, they're still going to get it done for 12 under center. I mean, you can't deny what he brings to the field, even in his 30s.
Mm-hmm. After he went to the New England Patriots, obviously, he went to the Minnesota Vikings again, and as you know, Brett Favre wanted Randy Moss when he was with the Packers, and the Packers didn't go after him, and I think that left Brett Favre kind of angry against Packers ownership for not kind of upgrading the wide receiver position through free agency. And did you have good feelings when Randy went back to Minnesota?
It was strange. I mean, in his press conference, he said, "Pull your '84 jerseys out." So guess what I did? I pulled out my '84 jersey. But it only lasted like 2 weeks. I find it very ironic that Brett Favre's 500th touchdown pass and Randy Moss's last touchdown pass he ever caught was from Brett Favre. And it would have been nice to see him stay there for a couple of years, especially now that we finally got McNabb. But New England totally messed the whole situation up. They've never been an organization to bow to a player's wishes, but they could have just been better about renegotiating his contract, and he'd still be a Patriot, and he'd still be happy. But like I said earlier, there's still going to be a top-caliber team with or without him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was definitely glad to see him in Minnesota, and the whole season for him and the Vikings last year was just a mess. So good to get that behind us.
I think what's interesting about New England is they always try to rehabilitate players. Now you see it with Albert Hainsworth and Ocho Cinco, to where it could temporarily work, but I just have a feeling towards the end it's going to be like a Randy Moss thing where it's kind of like, well, we don't really want you anymore. You served your purpose, so to speak, but you can go somewhere else now. Do you kind of feel with Hainsworth and Ocho Cinco could be the same thing?
Well, I think those two players, like if they had gone earlier in their careers, it wouldn't have worked, but they've got to a point where the window's closing. Hainsworth's a little younger, but the window's starting to close if they're going to be successful, and I feel like the discipline that Belichick brings to the table, I almost can guarantee you the shenanigans that those two have is definitely going to be at a lesser level. They're on a higher caliber team. It's almost like they went from JV to varsity. They got all the older, experienced veteran players, and they're just not going to put up with it. So.
That's an awesome comparison, JV to varsity. I like that.
I mean, it really is. So, I mean, they think they're going to be productive, and you're not going to have Hainsworth stomping on people's face masks and crying in the off season and whatever else bores us on SportsCenter in the middle of the summer. And they're going to get things done. Now, how long they're going to be there, I don't know. I don't know how successful they are.
So say Randy Moss gets assuming he gets elected to the Hall of Fame, which quote is he going to say first as he walks up to the mic?
Well, I was reading Rick Riley's article. Or no, it was the guy writes from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And he said at the end he wouldn't be surprised if Randy didn't even go to the Hall of Fame induction. But he's got a lot of them, and I imagine he'd make up a new one just for that occasion. I don't think it's a matter if. I'm pretty sure he's going to the Hall of Fame.
I'm thinking it's going to be. I think it's going to be everyone in the audience say one clap. What's interesting about Randy Moss is I've never seen a quarterback needing Randy Moss or any wide receiver like Dante Culpepper needed Randy Moss. After Randy Moss left, his production dropped off drastically.
Yeah, that one year, I don't remember what year it was like 2003 or 2004. If it wasn't for Peyton Manning, Dante Culpepper would have won the MVP, and obviously a large part of that's due to 84. But you got to remember, Dante Culpepper tore his ACL, and I mean, most players don't recover at all from that, let alone get back to the league.
The Madden curse.
If you don't have anybody to throw to, then how good of a quarterback are you really? So, I mean, I definitely think that can be contributed to.
Yeah, and a lot of people think Randy Moss will be back probably by week 4, as soon as the contending team goes, 1-3.
34 years old, he's definitely got at least 4 or 5 more productive years in. Don't think that includes Tennessee, who doesn't even have a quarterback. But yeah, he's 34. I definitely think that was premature.
I think Randy Moss going to Tennessee was like Lance Berkman going to the Yankees last year. Both players did not want to go to those places, and the production you get out of those people was not going to be good because they just would not want to be there. And Tennessee, I think Moss probably just took that because that was the only team that really put in a waiver for him, and he was like, sure, why not? And he had like 4 catches with 60 yards or something like that.
Flipped off, and it was just weird seeing him in a Titans jersey.
Mm-hmm. Say if he doesn't come back? Will people remember him more for his play, or will that be more of an asterisk, or will his attitude be more of an asterisk? You think?
I definitely think he's going to be remembered more for his play. Like, there's a deep